Institute of Management and Technology, Professor Rajiv Agarwal ji, Director, GL Bajaj Institute of Management and Technology, Ms. Humaira Parveen, Assistant Professor, GL Bajaj Institute, dear faculty and fellow students, Namaskaram and very good morning to all of you. Before me, you have heard those who have an expertise on this subject. I was wondering, you have honored me, but I was wondering that I am a layman as far as information technology and cyber security is concerned. But you have invited me. I thank you very much for the honor you have done me. But I shall speak mostly, or what I think entitles me to speak is as a consumer of this technology and the problems which sometimes, like many other consumers, I also face. It's a pleasure for me to inaugurate this two-day international conference on cyber security in emerging digital data, organized by GL Bajaj Institute of Technology and Management. I sincerely appreciate the efforts of the Institute community for organizing this two-day virtual conference to orient talented researchers and academicians towards contributing to our cyber defense. The term cyber security reminds us of pitfalls in technology as it has been observed by a famous expert on the subject who has said, you are absolutely deluded, if not stupid, if you think that a worldwide collection of software engineers who cannot write operating systems or applications without security holes can then turn around and suddenly write virtualization layers without security holes. Today, life has become an event managed by supercomputers which control and manage almost every area of human activity. Therefore, an institute of management taking keen interest in cybersecurity is in tune with the times. This conference is being held at a time when our nation has been undergoing most extensive digital transformation in recent years. India has become an important hub of activity in the field of information technology, with more and more areas being regulated through IT and IT-enabled services. It has become essential to ensure a robust security infrastructure to protect the country from harmful influences. It is said that mankind has lost the art of winning wars and battles. The world classics and histories are full of stories of warfare and conquest. Some battles were fought to protect dharma, Some others were merely to plunder and to capture power. Battles were profitable for the victorious as they grew more powerful and richer. But the end of the Second World War made nations rethink on battle victories through destruction and genocide. The profit, after all, was small and the intangible losses very heavy. Today, the technology of war has changed, and so has changed the nature of economy. In a knowledge society, battles are fought without firing even a single missile. Instead, biological warfare and cyber attacks are order of the day, thereby devastating the economies and putting entire nations into jeopardy. Recently we have seen a prominent world leader on record who said that hackers are free people, just like the artists who wake up in the morning in a good mood and start painting. If they are patriotically minded, they start making their contributions, which are right from their viewpoint, to fight against those who say undesirable things about their country. So, this head of state is sort of justifying the activities of the hackers, those who indulge in cyber attacks. The cyber threats are often referred to as the CIA triad, which comprises confidentiality threat or data theft, integrity theft, which alters data including financial data, and availability attacks, which deny access or service and cause physical destruction. We have seen one or all of these factors working to disrupt life now and then. In fact, examples are too many, but I shall mention a few. The recurrence of the disk wiping malware Shamoon in the Middle East and the massive power outage caused in Ukraine due to a cyber attack on their power grid in December 2015 are some of the international instances of cyber attack. We have also been hearing of modified kill disk being used to delete the data from the workstations and servers, causing long hours of confusion. To describe matters in a lighter vein, I would say that the world classics spoke of the Trojan horse. Today, Trojan horse is considered the third wave of malware that spreads across the internet via malicious websites and emails. The Internal Security Threat Report of 2017 spoke of the gravity of the problem of ransomware, with detection of ransomware increasing in such a way that by 2016, more than 7.1 billion web identities were compromised in cyber attacks. Coming to India, from 2012 to 2018, there were over 90,000 cyber crime incidents registered across the country. Of these, over 27,000 cases were registered in 2018 alone, marking an increase of more than 121% since 2016. Uttar Pradesh had the highest number of cyber crimes compared to the rest of the country, with over 6,000 cases registered with the authorities in 2018 alone. Next came Karnataka, which is the major hub of internet activity in India. Most of these cases were registered under the IT Act with the motive to defraud or sexually exploit victims. I am told that in 2018, Maharashtra had the highest number of cyber stalking and bullying incidents against women and children, with nearly 400 cases registered with the authorities. By 2019, the total figure at the neutral level rose to 44,546 cases, of which 12,000 were from Karnataka. Uttar Pradesh had over 11,000. We may also consider the Internet Crime Report for 2019 released by USA. The report has revealed that India stands third in the world among top 20 countries that are victims of internet crimes. If we look at the losses incurred due to cyber attacks, we see an alarming picture. In 2017 alone, consumers in India were known to have collectively lost money equaling over 18 billion US dollars due to cyber crimes. Government initiatives such as a dedicated online portal to report cyber crimes have helped in the timely reporting of online crimes from 2017 onward. Yet we hear of many people being defrauded by criminals who masquerade as bank officials and get access to accounts. Seeing such levels of increase, I feel that it is high time we stop thinking of cybercrime as something that only happens on computers. With the rise of smart devices and the Internet of Things in all day-to-day devices, the cyber attacks have become far more invasive, dangerous, and even physical. We also have to correct our perception of cyber crimes as being expensive only when a crime has been committed. The expense we incur to keep our systems safe in itself is gigantic. Last year, various business sectors across India had to spend amounts equal to nearly $1.9 billion for this. Of this, the share of our banking financial institutions came to over 500 million US dollars, and this is estimated to go up to over $800 million by 2020. The social angles of cyber crimes also deserve more attention. Today, women and children face the brunt of many criminal activities. Among the cyber cases registered, A large number pertain to women, and a sizable number of victims as well as the accused belong to the age group of 18 to 30 years. The involvement of children in such cases is a cause of great concern. Today, most experts suggest an interdisciplinary and behavioral approach to cybersecurity. Enterprises have to account for the possibilities of vulnerability, including human error in the design of systems, since avoiding vulnerability is a much better option than trying to patch it or spend resources on guarding it. We see many organizations analyzing the profiles of hackers from a behavioral and sociological view. We have hackers, script kiddies, cyberpunks, such as virus writers, and many characters with different skills and motives. It is important to understand the hacking techniques and hackers' motives in order to anticipate their moves. No system is 100% secure, but maximizing security is not possible without considering the human element. Employees who deal with cyber systems have to be well informed of the risk and about differentiating desired behaviors from undesired ones. While taking good efforts in tackling such issues through technology, we also have to concentrate on creation of awareness about the seriousness of cyber crimes. What is unique about today's technology is that one need not be highly educated to use it, especially in the case of social media. It is true that social media are best tools of self-expression, but a larger percentage of its users are not aware of the dangers posed by the misuse of this media. In fact, for the majority of the people, line between use and abuse is not very clear. This calls for introducing cyber laws as part of the syllabus right from the school level. As I mentioned earlier, security is much more than a matter of technology alone. The need for foolproof cybersecurity is as important as the need for a strong defense preparedness. In a world where all systems run on information technology, it is imperative that cybersecurity is given priority. Here I would like to mention that since COVID crisis began, we have been switched over to the online mode in a big way. In the case of a Chinese application, Zoom, it was found to be unsafe due to alleged data leak. An entrepreneur from Kerala, Shri Joy Sebastian, came out with vConsole, a facility for video conferencing, which has been approved by Government of India as the official platform for online meetings. This means global cyber security issues could also ignite local individuals to create better and safer technological options. that points to the positive impact of both Digital India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. I hope conference like this would give valuable inputs on how to ensure a world without cyber threats and cyber inequalities. I am glad that this conference has keynote speakers, presenters, and experts from across the globe to share their views, innovations, and accomplishments. I hope their suggestions would be of great help in formulating better policies in terms of cyber safety and laws. My best wishes for the success of this conference. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.